What's up guys, Brandon, more plates, more dates. Wait, that's the wrong intro. I've been watching way too many of Derek's videos on the Stairmaster recently. What's going on guys, Brandon Hardin here. Hope you're having a great day. Today we are going to be reacting to a video that Greg made about me yesterday.
He's suffering immensely, and I've watched a video posted yesterday and today,
which was based around the topic that he thinks that I'm getting too lean too fast for my show, and that if I continue on the way I am, result in losing muscle mass, when obviously the goal for a prep, one of the main goals for dieting for a competition is to decrease the body fat as much as possible to present a physique on stage while maintaining as much muscle mass as possible. Obviously when you are supported by anabolics and everything, it is easier to maintain muscle mass. Even with that, it's not absolutely certain that you will retain all of the muscle mass. If you're dieting to a certain extent, you will still lose muscle mass. Just like fat, muscle can be utilized as a energy source if the body needs it, so it's really important to not diet down too hard. And Greg made a reaction video to my previous 2 YouTube videos, and he seems to think that I'm dieting too hard.
the dude is shredded. He's actually too lean for how many weeks he has left.
And being 3 weeks out, I shouldn't be in the condition that I am currently. I'm currently 19 days out from the regional qualifier, the first show of the season that will allow me to compete in the pro qualifying events that are going to be weeks after the first show. So in total, I might be on prep for another 6 weeks total. Before Greg posted his video, he was kind enough to send me a private message. There was paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph of a lot of advice, and I was very, very, like, you know, pleasantly surprised by this. He was very kind, and he was nice enough to give me his 2 cents as a coach and a friend, which was really, really nice. And he let me know at the end of it that he would be posting a YouTube video talking about this because he believed that you guys could learn a substantial amount by using me as an example of someone that could potentially be dieting too hard. Whether I think I am, we're going to get into that, because me and my coach, we have a plan. I am following orders every single day from someone that is a lot more educated from this standpoint than me, with obviously asking questions and learning as much as I can along the way. And collaboratively, we are trying to develop a physique and bring a package to a stage that I've never ever brought before. But Greg's opinion is obviously well respected, and I really did appreciate it because he's a very, very knowledgeable guy. Me and Greg, we have worked together in the past, so I do know the way Greg likes to coach people. So it didn't really surprise me that he would have this kind of opinion on the way I'm dieting, because he doesn't really believe in yo-yo dieting, bulking and cutting. I feel like Greg's standpoint to prepping is very similar to his day-to-day, being consistent, not having to drop calories to a dangerous amount, maintaining a lean body mass all year round, so it doesn't actually take that long to get competition ready. Hence why Greg is around 10% pretty much the majority of the year, and then doesn't really have to lose much body fat percent to be stage ready. Greg can probably lose about 4 to 6% body fat and he will be show ready. Me, for example, I started prep around 18% body fat because I did try and bulk up a little bit to gain muscle a little bit faster than I would if I was just at my maintenance or just above my maintenance on a daily basis. I understand one of Greg's main standpoints is that you can make lean gains, you can main gain on the off season, but of course when you are looking at the caliber of, like, you know, top pro athletes and you have a certain amount of time to gain a lot of muscle tissue, I'd like to leave no stone unturned. I would like to increase my body fat ever so slightly if it could potentially enable me to grow a little bit more muscle mass on the off season with the short period of time that I do have to do this before I start dieting and in between competition seasons. Just out of respect, I'm not going to be reading the text message that Greg sent to me because that was a private message, but I will be reacting to his video. And I'm going to start off by reading the comment that actually dropped on Greg's video. I'm just loading up the video right now. This is a completely different setting to any YouTube video I've made before. This is actually the Hardcast podcast setup. I thought it'd be a nice switch up and pretty cool, considering most of Greg's videos are him sat down talking and narrating and reacting to various videos. I thought it would only be fitting to kind of do the same thing, reacting to one of his videos and utilizing like the mic setup and stuff that I have for the podcast. And it's kind of nice to just sit down. Like, I've already done my 45 minutes fasted cardio today. I'm 2 meals in. I'm going to be training in about 3 hours, so I've got 1 more meal to eat. I'll be training about 4:30, and then after the workout I'm going to be doing some steps to hit my 10k for the day. And it's a really, really nice day today. Like, the sun has come out in Canada, so thankfully, for the last couple of days here in Canada, because I'm actually flying home a lot sooner than I expected to, because my coach has actually requested that I go home a bit sooner so we can see my physique in person 2 weeks out from the show, so we can closely analyze my physique to make a plan that's a bit more accurate than me sending just check-ins. Because although check-ins are very accurate, he wants to see me in person so we can analyze my physique to let me know what the 2-week plan, because if I am in good enough condition, it means we can actually pull back on cardio slightly, meaning I'll be on my feet less closer to the show, which will bring out more detail in my quads and my hamstrings and my glutes through excessive amounts of cardio and leg days. You do typically take out leg days 10 days before a show or a week to allow all the water in the legs, all the water retention to drain away, which is basically just decreasing the inflammation. But as well, doing excessive amounts of cardio can be quite detrimental in terms of hiding the condition in your legs. So if we can pull off cardio close to the show, that would be fantastic, because one, I'm going to be dragging my ass across the floor and it's going to be very hard to do cardio, and two, it'll be nice to be able to bring out more condition in my legs by doing a little bit more and not have to have like body fat to necessarily still lose, because hopefully in the next week and a half we'll be pretty much there, and then we can lay off for the last week and cruise nicely into the show. Most of the activity I'll be doing will be through some light pump workouts and building my posing routine to present on stage. To be honest, posing is basically cardio, because, you know, some would argue that posing is actually harder than cardio. The kind of sweat that you can build up going through a few mandatory poses, building a routine, is that of, you know, cardio. It's literally the same thing. But yeah, so essentially I'm going to be going back to the UK a little bit sooner than expected, which I'm really happy about. I haven't been home in the past I haven't seen my dog or my dad or my nan or my brother or any of my family in the past 8 months, because obviously we went to Dubai in November to avoid what was happening in the UK, but now the UK is opening back up. Canada has gone in the complete opposite direction, but we're not competing in Canada. Inevitably was flying home on the 26th anyway, but we're going to be leaving on the 21st, 5 days sooner, which I'm really happy about. We just loaded up Greg's video. I'm going to quickly read the comment that I dropped on this video before reacting to some of the things that he said, because I agree with the majority of what he said, but there are some things that I do strongly disagree with at the same time. He doesn't actually know the plan of action that we have over the next 2.5 weeks. He has given a very educated standpoint and a lot of valid points, but also there are some things that do need to be mentioned as well, because he, you know, doesn't know the whole plan. The comment says, Greg privately reached out to me and told me he'd be making this video. He actually was kind enough to give me some really good advice in private. I know he's only coming from a coaching standpoint and trying to be a good friend. It might look like I'm struggling or like I've dieted too hard, but I can promise you I have a lot left in the tank. I might look quite lean in pictures and in videos, but in person there is still some work to be done. I have 100% trust in my coach and his plan for getting me in the best condition of my life and in the healthiest way possible, because that is the main thing, getting in the best condition of my life, but also in the healthiest way possible. From an anabolic standpoint, this prep is substantially lower than my previous preps that I've done. The quote, less is more, couldn't apply more in this way, and the way I've approached this dieting phase. I remember 2 years ago, Greg made a video about my anabolic stack stating that it was too much, which at the time, my prep 2 years ago, I was on quite a lot of anabolics, and I did agree completely with what he said. Taking that advice on board and listening to my coach Callum, who I'm actually going to be living with for the entire peak week of this prep, so we can closely analyze everything I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. The last sessions of this prep will be taken and led by Callum. If you've seen any videos of me training with Callum before, they are very intense. There is no stone unturned, and he will, you know, rinse every last bit of energy out of me. Also, my videographer Zane is going to be living with us as well. Peak week for the show, we're going to be living with Callum, and we're going to hopefully be posting a YouTube video every single day, 7 days till show day. Show day might take a little bit longer to edit because it's going to be a lot more going on, but there will be a video every day leading up to the show, hopefully. Taking this advice on board, I've proceeded with this prep from a more healthy standpoint, making it more of a priority than it ever has been before. I would like to compete in the sport for a very long time. Managing my blood, using the word healthy is definitely far-fetched from the truth, but we're definitely trying to stay as close to that as possible. I completely respect where Greg is coming from. I know he's competed in many times and has a world of experience that I'm yet to learn. I just feel as though I have a responsibility to be the leanest I can possibly be, pushing myself to a place to learn what I am truly capable of. This is because I'm extremely motivated right now, and I've never been so inspired and dedicated to a prep. This prep is different to any other prep that ever before, because not only am I working with Callum right now, who is an incredible coach, and I actually work with him for the majority of the off season leading up to this too, so he knows my body very well. I have 100% trust in him, but it's not just, you know, the trust in the coach that makes a good prep. It's the headspace that the athlete has to be in to follow a prep. I have never been more mentally ready for this, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with maturity as well. The older you get, you really truly realize how important the things are that you want to do are to you and what your goals are, because if you're like going into a prep half-hearted, it's gonna be very easy to just fall off, and when it gets hard and you get a bit demotivated and you start questioning why you're even doing what you're doing, it's really easy to fall off. It's really easy to cheat on your diet, and that's when things get even more difficult, because then the head games start. Not only are you changing everything about your hormonal balance, you're also taking your body to a place that it does not want to be in. So struggle is inevitable, and questions will occur in your mind throughout the entire duration of this prep. So you need to make sure that you're doing it for the right reason. The reason this prep has been so enjoyable, yes, it's been very difficult, and I've pushed myself already to a place that I've never been before, and we still have 2.5 weeks left, but it's because I'm so mentally focused and I know what I want to do. I know I want to be a pro. I know the regional qualifier is a stepping stone to the greater goal, and to achieve that, I'm going to to have to do something I've never done before and bring a package to the stage that I've never brought before. Finally, I said, I understand that the first show is only a regional qualifier and I don't need to come in 100% peak condition. There will still be plenty left in the tank for the shows following towards my pro qualifying event. I would rather diet down extremely far and have to feed up into the show rather than not be dieted enough and panic towards the end. This is a lot of it as well, being prepared and having dieted too much and then be able to eat more towards the show and lay off cardio, then panicking last minute, 2 weeks out, shit, I'm not ready, I'm still fat, my lower back hasn't come in, I'm a week out, my glutes aren't even in yet, and you start doing things drastically, and that's when things start to spiral, and it becomes a very, very unpleasant experience, and then prep is even more unenjoyable than it already is. Therefore, we are trying to get ready a little bit early to take out the guesswork and just to make it a more pleasant experience. So there are going to be hard days, but we're doing this from a preparation standpoint, preparing. We're putting myself in the best position possible to not have to stress close to show, because that, like I said, is the worst thing. When stress is high in the body, you can hold a considerable amount of water retention as well, which is going to make your physique look like a bag of shit. As Greg would say, a bag of milk. And I don't want to look like a stressed out bag of milk. That doesn't really sound good in any sense of the word. This is only my 6th show and I'm learning every step of the way. Finding the perfect balance will only come through time and experience for myself. I appreciate the educated video, Greg. Thank you for looking out for me. I am learning as I'm going and I don't know everything and I'm just listening to the advice of someone else as well. These decisions aren't based off my hormonally imbalanced prep mind and I'm just like trying to diet down stupidly far because I'm scared that I won't be show ready. There is more structure to this prep than I can comprehend, that I care to, that I can even try and explain, to be honest. Callum is a very, very intelligent man, but we're going to bring up some points from Greg's video.
He's already under 6% body fat, approaching 5%.
I have to strongly disagree with that. I'm nowhere near like 5% body fat. I definitely am still around like 8 to 7%. I understand in pictures and stuff on Instagram, you are going to look a lot more conditioned. You're under the best lighting. You have maybe added some sharpening or some contrast to the picture. The physique updates that I post on Instagram are the most accurate representation of what my physique is looking like. But the thumbnail is in the gym, massively pumped up, which is going to bring the veins to the surface of the skin, therefore making you look more conditioned than you actually are. I'm not close to 5%. I'm closer to like 7 or 8%. I still have a couple percent left to go. I appreciate the compliment and I'm glad that I look leaner than I am. We do have time, which is nice.
He's not natural, openly admits he's on all the goodies. Still can't do it, still feels like garbage. So just because you're on PDs doesn't mean it's easy. You still have to suffer. Do you not see the suffering this man's doing to try and win the show?
I couldn't agree with this more. Just because someone does take anabolics on a prep does not make it easier. In fact, I'd argue that it actually makes it harder because there's so many more variables to consider, and injecting yourself on a day-to-day basis is not a pleasant thing to be able to do. You know, stabbing yourself in the morning when you're already feeling vulnerable and, you know, kind of weak is a difficulty in itself, but then also there's the hormonal imbalance, which makes it a lot more difficult to manage a prep. The expense as well. If you're not someone that's like, you know, financially stable, supplementation on a prep can be very expensive, which can add another difficulty level to a prep. Because if you're not, you know, financially comfortable and you do have to, like, you know, budget your prep and do things, because even entering the show was like £120. Like total on a prep stat, you can spend anywhere from £1,000 to £2,000. If you want to run high levels of GH, you can spend £4,000 to £5,000 on a prep. Like, it's a lot more expensive than people think. So this does add in a difficulty factor. And as well, when on PEDs, you do have the potential to push harder in the gym, therefore to give more to your workouts, which is going to be more taxing on the body. That is going to result in you being more tired throughout the day because you can give more. I'm not saying that people that are natural can't push as hard, because they definitely can, but there definitely is more of a relentless ability to push when on, you know, PEDs.
Up the calories. He's eating far too few calories. I've already seen the video. He eats 2,000 calories on days off and 2,400 on training days.
Well, my calories have actually been dropped even more since that. Calories on a non-training day are now on 1,800 and my regular day calories are on 2,400. So calories have been dropped just a little bit. But this isn't anything that's like new to me. I have dieted before 3 days in a row to bring a condition after I really messed up my diet on my previous show. I was on 1,200 calories for 3 days straight. It did result in some serious headaches. It was basically a bikini girl prep diet, but it helped me bring condition after I messed up. And some people do have to go to this extent, you know, to bring the last bit of condition, to bring out the glutes, to bring out the hamstrings. You do have to do low days. Yes, it's not healthy. This is the big differentiation between the way Greg preps and the way some other people prep. Maintaining a lean body mass all year round enables him to not have to push as hard. And maybe he keeps his clients as well at a lean body mass. So therefore, you don't really have to do these drastic things, but in the simplest terms possible. I don't want to maintain a lean body mass all year year round because I fucking love food way too much to be, you know, worrying about what I'm eating 365 days a year. Some days I just want to pop to the chicken shop and have a Pepe's and have 20 wings covered in lemon and herb sauce. Sometimes I want to go and get 17 hash browns at McDonald's because I just crave hash browns. And other times I'd like to sit in with my family, watch a movie and eat a Chinese and not have to track it because, you know, tracking your food every single day isn't necessarily an enjoyable thing to do. Yes, it's a lifestyle, but when you push yourself to the extent that you do on a competition prep, you take your body and your mind to a place where it kind of needs a bit of a break afterwards. It's nice to just not have to track and not have to think. Yes, the off season should be structured and you shouldn't just, you know, eat whatever you want mindlessly. But if you are someone like me that likes to have like a Chinese on the night time, you know, pop to your local Indian and get a vindaloo. I like a chicken paffia personally. Those things, you know, aren't going to fit into your healthy calculated macros for the day, but they're fucking enjoyable to eat. And that's why I like to eat them. And that's why in my off season, I do gain a little bit of body fat because I like to enjoy my food. I don't like to do things the way Greg likes to do things, and a lot of people don't. I understand a lot of his recipes are very enjoyable, macro friendly, and those are really fun and creative to do a lot of the time. But now and again, I like a takeaway, and I like to just not open my MyFitnessPal and track everything that I do. And that's a totally normal thing to do. Have your staple foods in the day that you like to have consistently, so your grocery list isn't a maze every single day trying to go around the grocery store trying to pick a different, you know, recipe for every single day. It's nice to have some consistency in your life, but every now and again, it's also nice to not have to think and just put food in your mouth and eat it and not have to track the macros. There are so many different ways you can go about trying to build muscle and just like living a healthy lifestyle. Some are easier than others and everyone has a different way of doing things, but you have to do the one that's the most enjoyable for you to do and the easiest one to maintain, because you have to be in this for the long run. Making progress in the gym or just transforming your body in any way, it takes years and years and years, you know, 5 to even 10 years to develop an admirable physique. And I've been training now for about 8 years. It's taken me a while to get here, but I've learned a lot along the way. But I do still, you know, have a lot to learn as well.
Rather than being 245, it would have been better to be 235. He'd have less weight to lose, easier to cut. He would look better if he dieted slower. But he's chosen this dramatic calorie deficit because he doesn't know any better.
I do have to disagree with that because I have done the longest prep I've ever done. He basically mentioned that I am doing this very drastically. I've been on prep now for almost 15 weeks. The total duration of this prep is going to be 18 weeks before the first show. Fastest prep I've ever done was 11 weeks, and that was a lot more drastic than this. Previous prep before this was 16 weeks. This is the longest prep I've ever done, and it has been the most enjoyable, and I've been able to maintain the most muscle mass. I've actually grown into this prep. I posted a transformation on Instagram just yesterday, and my starting physique to the current physique I have from the pictures I took just 2 days ago, I have grown into this prep. Like a lot of what Greg mentions in this video is the fact that I'm losing muscle mass, and he's scared of me, you know, going into the show having to sacrifice certain mass. But because of the fact that I'm on PEDs and, you know, my diet hasn't been that restrictive until this point, until the last moment, I've actually been able and privileged enough to grow into the show. So if, you know, if Greg did analyze my entire prep over the last 15 weeks and not just the past 2 weeks of videos and not just the past 2 weeks of diet, I feel like he'd be a lot more educated from the standpoint of like the way we've actually done this prep and not just gather the immediate information he has utilized to make this video. If he did a bit more research, he would have actually known that this prep has been very enjoyable and my calories have been around 3,000 for the majority of the time, except for the past 2-3 weeks.
Can't sleep. How is he going to build muscle if he can't sleep? Remember when I said sleep is the most underrated thing in bodybuilding? I'd rather take sleeping aids than fat burners. He needs to figure out how to get some sleep or it's going to get worse. It's going to continue to get worse.
I have kind of figured out a way to, you know, get a bit more sleep in. I do have 5-HTP. I do supplement melatonin. I've also been utilizing some Canadian herbs, considering the fact that that's totally legal in Canada, and it's something that I've never actually ever done before in my entire life. I'm 24 years old. I've actually never done that kind of thing before. Maybe I've had the odd bad experience in the past, or maybe just done too much, but trying to be as open and honest as possible. 2 drags, like 2 puffs, or 2 like, you know, little sucks. I don't, this is how much I have no idea about it. 2 little, you know, puffs before bed, and within 10 minutes I am jolly and I am able to relax and just chill out a little bit. Yes, I am on trend. My sleep has been detrimentally affected as soon as that started. It did start 4 weeks out and now we've been doing it for the last week and a half. And yes, sleep has been affected, but with melatonin, 5-HTP, some Canadian herbs, I have been able to, you know, really drastically increase the length of my sleep. On average, I'll receive about 6 to 8 hours at the moment, which to be honest is like pretty average for me. Like on the off season, I probably get like 5 to 6 hours. I'm actually getting more sleep right now on prep based on the fact that I'm utilizing this. No, it's not something I'll be doing on a day-to-day basis after prep. I don't love the way it makes me feel, but it definitely helps me sleep at the moment. So we will continue it on for the duration of prep, and then when prep is done, I will fall asleep with a full belly of food and not have to, smoke before bed.
If you added those 10 calories, it would help you. And why stop at 10? Why stop at 100? You need 500 calories more right now, Brandon. I am telling you, eat 500 calories more every day. 2,000 and 2,400. Change that to 2,500 and 2,900. And thank me when you win your pro card.
I can't just go and eat 500 calories. Like, there's a reason my plan has been devised the way it is. Like, I appreciate Greg's humor and, his standpoint from this video. I do get overly critical about the numbers on preps and stuff. There's nothing else to think about. When your whole life is prep and all you can think about is the variables and the numbers, and I've always been the kind of person that likes to understand everything about what I'm doing and knowing exactly what my protein, fats, and carbs, other micronutrients are, how I can decrease calories in certain areas to be able to have them in other areas and everything. That's just because I have like quite an obsessive personality. That's just my OCD. That's the kind of person I've always been from a young age. When you have nothing else to think about other than food, prep, I have other things to think about too. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I run a lifting equipment and an app company, which is a coaching app and fitness equipment. I also run a podcast now, hence the setup. I make YouTube videos and have to edit them all myself, as well as the podcast. I actually have some help editing the podcast right now because I have no more time on my hands. The development of future hard body products. I'm actually currently working on another company that's going to be releasing in the first quarter, hopefully, of next year, which is gonna, I'm not gonna say anything just yet, but it's I've never been so excited to release something in my entire life, and I know that everyone's gonna love it, and I know that everyone, little hint, everyone is going to want more of it when they have got it. I'm not gonna say any more about that, but I'm very busy, and that's just like the way I like to live my life and the way I like to do things. So yes, if I can decrease my calorie count with calories that aren't necessary to my current plan by just switching my energy drink to another one that I enjoy just as much, going from Monster, which is 10 calories, to Bang, which is 0 calories, I enjoy them both the same. If I can do it, then why not? If you can do something that's going to make you better, then why not just do it? Instead of coating your food in like endless sauce and drinking all the energy drinks in the world, yes, I do have an energy drink every single day. Some people would argue you shouldn't have any a day. You shouldn't have any caffeinated beverages. You shouldn't have anything with carbonation in it, but that's just the other end of the spectrum. I'm somewhere in the middle. I completely agree with what Greg's saying, but I also agree that there does need to be some sort of accountability and balance, and it's nice to think about numbers because it keeps my mind busy. So that's the reason I do it.
And then eat the same amount of calories and slowly build muscle from there. And the next diet he goes on, he won't have to drop to 2,000 calories. And instead of weighing 208 pounds a month out, he'll be 220 pounds a month out. That is how you bodybuild.
I would love to be 220 pounds shredded. That is the ultimate goal. Like, no matter what happens on this prep, if I compete like 2 or 3 times for my pro card and I don't get it, I think after like a third attempt, which will be the 4th show of the season, mean I have to peak my body 4 times. If I don't get it on the 3rd attempt, I'll pretty much know that I'm not yet ready to get a pro card, that there is more work to be done, therefore I'll be taking a bit of an off season. But of course the main goal is to leave the season with an IFBB pro card, and we're going to be competing as many times as physically possible and in the healthiest way possible to make that a reality. It's probably going to take about 1.5 years to maybe even 2.5 years of off seasons to gain about 10 pounds of muscle tissue, meaning that even then I'll be stepping on stage absolutely bone dry shredded at around 212 pounds. To be 220 pound stage shredded, my last stage weight was 191 pound. Greg, where am I pulling 29 pound of lean muscle tissue? Like, if you know someone, if you can promise me that your anabolic cookbook will help me gain 29 pound of lean muscle tissue, I will buy 10 of them, because that would be very lovely. But it's sadly not the case, and you can only really make progress relative to, your genetic capability, the amount of PEDs that you're willing to take, and the effort that you're willing to put in on a day-to-day basis into your diet and training. 29 pound of lean tissue does seem a little bit far-fetched.
If he turns pro, he has to compete against Chris Bumstead. They're about the same height. Chris is 230 shredded on stage. Brandon 200. He needs to put on 30 pounds of muscle to compete with Chris Bumstead. At least to have a shot at winning.
When I get a pro card, I have to build up points or win a pro show to be invited to the Olympia. I'm not just going to get a pro card and just be able to compete with Chris Bumstead, who is the fucking king of classic physique. I'm in Canada and I'm wearing a checkered flannel. I feel like it's very fitting, and it's honestly like keeping me warm. My body is getting substantially colder the less body fat that I have, because I have no fat to keep me warm. So this kind of thing. But it's not as easy as just like winning this show, getting a pro card, and just being able to compete with Chris. Like I just said, it's going to take me a substantial amount of time to build a lot of muscle tissue to be on the Olympia stage. Like if I could put a year on it, if I could put an amount of time on my ability to go to the Olympia stage, I would say 4 years. Like it's going to take me 2 to 3 off seasons rebounding from shows and utilizing those rebounds to build enough muscle tissue to be competitive on that stage. Like people don't realize how big Chris is and how big these classic physique guys are. They have so much muscle, it is scary. You see these guys in the off season, they are literally like bodybuilders. Comparing my physique to them at the moment is a massive compliment, and I appreciate anyone that sees that sort of success for me in the future. Like thank you so much, like because it really does motivate me. We're here to make it happen, and someone has to do it, so why not you? Hence why I literally have that tattoo on my arm. Someone has to do it, so why not you? So why not me? I'm gonna do my best. But whether it's gonna happen, who knows? Only time will tell.
But not if he starves himself to this point. He's not going to get to 230 pounds shredded, starving himself.
On the topic of Chris, do you think Chris won the Olympia and got in the condition that he did by not starving himself? Do you think he got there in an easy way? Do you think his calories were like 3,000 like Greg's? Do you think that Chris, you know, ate super high macro-friendly food and didn't think about the monster he was drinking? Do you think he didn't analyze every single detail? Do you think him and Ian didn't, you know, micromanage every ounce of Chris's prep to put him in the position to be able to win the Olympia? I can guarantee you that Chris would have suffered a substantial amount more than you can even fathom on that prep to win the Olympia twice, especially with a medical condition, having to worry about inflammation constantly. Greg's standpoint on dieting for a show and not having to suffer, and then how Chris would diet for a show and how I'm trying to diet for a show, are two very, 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 very different things. And that's my standpoint on this video. I appreciate the advice that Greg's giving me, and I love the fact that he's looking out for me. He's being a good friend, but I also do need to say that there is levels to this shit. And Greg has achieved a lot in his life, and he has competed in many shows. He's coached a lot of successful people. He's turned people pro, which is fantastic. But everyone has a different way of doing something, and every way is right in its own way, and every way is wrong in its own way, because everyone has an opinion on something, and everyone's entitled to that opinion. But it doesn't mean one is right or one is wrong. There is just different ways to do things, and whatever is the way that you see fit that's going to help you achieve the best results for your physique, that is the way you should do. That is the way I want to conclude this video, is by you should do the thing that's going to make you mentally sane enough that you're going to be making the progress you need to make to present something on stage or achieve anything in life that you need to do. You need to make the necessary steps to make something a reality. So that's going to conclude my reaction to Greg's video. He mentioned something about sex drive briefly at the end, but I already touched on that in my previous Q&A and my current sex drive situation. You can also watch Greg's video as well if you want to see his full reaction. His link is going to be in the description down below to his channel and the video that he made about me that I reacted to today. If you haven't yet seen it and you want to see the whole thing, yes, we haven't always seen eye to eye. We had a bit of an alteration about 2 years ago. We've grown past that. Over the years, we have developed a friendship, and it's become really lovely seeing the success of Greg. I know that he just bought his very first Merc, and he also bought the Lamborghini Urus, which is an absolute beast. Seeing someone like do so well and become so successful at a period in their life where others may be demotivated or be like, you know what, it didn't happen for me, I'm just gonna give up and just whatever. He is absolutely taking advantage of every resource that he has, you know, at his fingertips right now, with the YouTube channel, with the cookbook, with his coaching, with everything that he's doing. I know he has like a different cookbook that he just released with like 13 something or individuals. A few of my friends in the world are actually coaches with that cookbook, and it's amazing to see them all collaborating together. So, you know, massive respect to Greg. It is Callum's responsibility to make sure that I'm healthy and that I'm well and I'm mentally stable. And if things do get pushed quite far, I have to learn my own limits and know what they are, and I will learn more and more as the years go on and as I compete more. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a different kind of setup, different kind of reaction, but I know that the audio quality is going to be absolutely fantastic. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more videos like this, drop a like and a comment down below. Let me know what you think about my opinion and my evaluation on Greg's, you know, standpoint with my current dieting habits. Subscribe if you haven't already, and do me a favor and turn on the post notifications. It's right next to the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.